Alright guys, 15.5, a lot of rowing, a lot of thrusters. At least it's not any burpees or any box jumps like a lot of people were speculating, so you get a little break on that, but still, it's going to get pretty rough. Also, it's not an AMRAP, so it's kind of open-ended. I don't know how long it's going to take you. I'm going to tell you how to warm up as if it's going to be a sub 10-minute workout for some of you fast people, or it may be closer to like a 15-minute workout for some of you. I'll show you how to warm up a little bit differently depending on how long it's going to take you. So with any warm-up that we do, we always like to get the heart rate up first. So the first thing I'd like you to do, if you think the workout is going to take you around 10 minutes, maybe in between that, like if you're getting down by 8, like Sam Grace got down at 7 flat, it was insane. If you can get down at that point, or maybe up to 10, 11, 12 minutes, I would do a much longer aerobic warm-up to kind of prime your system for that, since you're not going to have as much time to get warmed up during the workout. So I would do 15, 20 minutes on an Aerodyne, rower, bike, or a combination of those three to actually warm your entire system up. You should be sweating, your heart rate should be up, you should be pretty warmed up by the time you finish that. Since you're going to go into a dynamic warm-up and then into the mobility, you're actually going to have another 20 to 25 minutes before you actually hit the workout. So I would actually, whether you're going to kill this workout in under 10 minutes or it's going to take you 20 minutes, allow yourself almost 45 minutes for this warm-up, because this thing is going to get pretty deadly by the end. So if it's going to take you a much longer time to do this workout, I'd say maybe 10 minutes on that Aerodyne, rower, or some type of bike, whatever you have at your gym. So after you get that aerobic warm-up out of the way, we'll move into our dynamic warm-up. Once you go through 3 rounds of this, 5 inchworms, 10 hip raises, 5 burpees, so you do get a little bit of burpee work in now in the open, and then 10 front and back presses. I'll show you what all 4 of those are now. Inchworms or burpees, all of this flexing at the hip is really going to help you out when it comes to both rowing, but also that hip extension that comes during your thrusters. So, inchworms, hinging over, walking the hands out, push up, walk the hands back, and then stand up. 5 of those. Then 10 hip raises. Feet in close, hips all the way up, glutes turned on, squeeze tight, and back down. So I have a little pause at the top and then back down. 10 of those, then 5 burpees. Make these nice and strict. Stay tight the whole time and work on that hip flexion that you're going to need to do a lot of very quickly during that rowing movement. After that, with a PVC pipe, front and back raises. Starting in front of my body, pressing up, going behind my neck, pressing up and back down. That's 1. You're doing 10 of those. So squeeze tight, up, behind, up, in front. It's really going to warm up your scapula for both the pushing but also the pulling. This one's actually going to feel a lot like Fran, because that pulling motion is a lot like your butterfly pull-ups when you're pulling in that horizontal plane. So you really want to get that scap warmed up for that pulling back. Once you're done your dynamic warm-up, so you've done your aerobic warm-up, your dynamic warm-up, we get to the mobility. I'm a huge fan of clearing up the T-spine before just about anything, so maybe just a minute, minute and a half, double the crossfall in the T-spine. So think right where your ribs start. Knees bent, arms across my shoulder blades, squeeze tight, then relax all the way over. And as I work my way up and let my head relax, I can add my arms into it while keeping my ribs down, reaching back, and then back up. Work my way all the way up behind my neck and work my way back down. This is going to help you improve that front rack position. It's going to help you improve your overhead position. It's just a good one to always hit before you do any workout. After that, we're going to make sure that you have both full hip flexion when you're doing that rowing motion, and you have full hip flexion when you're squatting, so we can avoid that reversal or that butt wink at the bottom of your squat. We do this by threading your leg through a band, get it high on your hip, hands and knees, walk out, kettlebells and move a little bit. Hopefully you have a rack to tie your band to. You're going to rotate your foot, so externally rotate, block it with your knee. Now I'm going to drive my kneecap into the floor. So it's not a pigeon stretch. We're not trying to stretch your glute. We're trying to stretch the hip capsule. So trying to push your femur in the back of the capsule so it can rotate better and not get jammed at the front of that acetabulum or your hip socket. So I'm pushing into it. I can go in my forearms, I can do it with my hands, shifting my weight off, shifting my weight in, really trying to get that stretch that should feel like your femur is about to pop out of the back of your butt cheek. 3 minutes each side. And I'll show you on my left leg without the band from a different angle. Once it's down, I'm going to shift my weight over and back. So I'm definitely not here, kneecap into the floor. After that, we're going to try to get you a little bit more external rotation in the bottom of that squat position. Makes it a lot easier to thruster if you can keep that torso upright. So grab a box or a step. It'd be better if your band was actually a little more even with the box, but I'm working with this ballet bar right now. Threading my leg through, getting it kind of high on my hip, throwing my leg up on the box. Then once I'm here, I try to dip into that squat position, so bottom of my thruster, and then come up. I can go out to the side, I can come back, I can tie in some of that sideline or some of my obliques if I'm tight through there. I can work into more ankle flexion, or ankle external rotation and flexion. I can come back, catch the hamstring similar to if I was rowing. This one you can play around with a lot until you find where that tight spot is and work into it. 2-3 minutes each side on that as well. If you have any issues, maybe high hamstrings are really tight on the rowing, you can always roll those out, but those are the two main ones I would say to hit for lower body. As for upper body, same as the hip, we need your shoulder in the back of the socket. We do that, the bully stretch, so the band is on the front of my shoulder, I let it get pulled back, I walk forward, and then while I'm here, my shoulder is back this way. I want to actually play with some of those ranges that will be in later. So maybe my rowing range, I could go into my pressing or my front rack range and try to get into these shapes that your shoulder is going to make in the WOD while it's in the back of that socket. So mobilizing in that good position that we want to be in later. Minute and a half each side, depending on how tight that is. If you're having issues with your front rack position, you can always do the banded super rack. That's heel on the band, then band thread over top of your hand, grab onto it, roll under as you squat down, stand up, get tight, and let that elbow get pulled back as you try to keep it externally rotated. So I don't want my elbow coming in, I want to try to keep it out more this way. So if you have issues with that front rack, I'd say definitely hit that one. You have tight lats, tight triceps. Then last piece of soft tissue work we want to do, clearing up the lats. Lats are tight, it's going to make it really hard to get in the front rack position, but it's really going to make it hard to get overhead. Lats are going to get worked a lot when you're doing that rowing, so you want them nice and loose, nice and supple, so that they can not only produce force, but relax enough so that you can work against them as the other muscles opposite of them are helping you press during your thruster. So, lacrosse ball, start at the base of the lats, and we're going to peel across all the way up to where our lat kind of ties in with our tricep. Do this by laying down, getting some weight on it, getting that shoulder in a good position, so externally rotated, and then rolling side to side. Move it up to a different spot. You can do some contract and then relax. Big deep breaths in, then relax, exhale over as you roll across. Big deep breaths through your belly as you do this too. Work your way all the way up to the top and then all the way back down. If you're still having issues getting a nice overhead position, because you do not want any no reps on this by not finishing at the top, you have to get that shoulder back. You may need to clear up the traps. So, lacrosse ball in the traps. Then do that same glute bridge we did earlier as your arm travels all the way overhead and then back down. So depending on where you're tight, you may need to spend some extra time on that soft tissue work. Just don't overdo it. I mean, if you're doing more than 2 minutes each side before the workout, it might be a little bit much. You don't want to completely smash everything before you get into the workout. Once you're done all of that, now you're getting into your movement prep specific for the WOD. So actually do some bouts of rowing, not too much, just maybe 5-10 calories, just to get used to coming off the rower and trying out some thrusters. Again, I'm always a big fan of making it heavier in the warm-up so that when you get to the workout it feels lighter. So I would try, if you're strong enough, go ahead and try some thrusters at 115 or 135 for the guys, or for girls, try some thrusters at 85, 95, 105, just a couple, just to make sure that you're producing all of that force from your legs and finishing with your arms like you have to with a heavyweight. Because your arms are going to get tired from all the rowing, it's going to be hard to just keep relying on your triceps to press out at the top of that thruster. Once you're done that specific prep for the WOD, I'll give yourself maybe 5 minutes to cool off, then get ready to actually hit your open attempt. So again, whole warm-up's going to take you maybe about 40 minutes, so when you arrive to the box early, or if you want to do some of the soft tissue work with the lacrosse ball, do that at home before you get to the box. Try to stay loose throughout the day. This is a workout that you may be able to hit twice, like if you're going to do it today, Friday, and then do it again on Sunday or Monday. But be really careful about trying to attempt it if your legs are still sore. You're probably not going to improve your score or your time that much if you're still really sore. And this is what, like in the high 60, 68 or so reps of each thing. It's going to be a lot of stress on the quads. And we all know what the escalating Fran ladder felt like a couple years ago. There's burpees and thrusters from last year, what that felt like the day after. So if you are sore the day after, you've got to start mobilizing. If you have compression bands, wrap up your quads. Any way you can try to keep your legs moving to keep them a little bit less sore, rolling out your quads, sitting down with a barbell and rolling them out. If you plan on hitting it twice, you're going to have to do some mobilizations in between today or tomorrow's attempt and either Sunday or Monday's attempt. So if you have any more questions, you can hit me up on my Facebook page. If you do the workout and you want some tips on how to improve your score, I'd be more than happy to look through your video, or if I'm able to actually, if you're at the CrossFit 301, I'll be able to see you at the box doing some of these workouts, and I'll be able to help you guys out with that. But if you just have any more questions, just let me know. And good luck with it.